Welcome, friends of Poetry Across the PD. Thank you for tuning in to what I hope to be the first of many weekly installments that we will call Poetry Sundays. I am Joangela Edwins. I'm the administrator of the Poetry Across the PD page. And what I hope to do with Poetry Sundays is offer a poem via video to you all that I've encountered that I like and feel like I got something from. It may be a poem that I've recently read. It may be a poem I have known and lived with for many, many years. It could even be a poem that you all send my way. So if you find a poem by a poet that you find particularly engaging, that you'd like to share, then please private message me here through Poetry Across the PD, or send it to me at jedwins@fmarion.edu. That's jedwins@fmarion.edu. I'll be happy to read the poem, and if its length and content seems to fit the time that we have to devote to it, I will be happy to share it with folks. My hope with these poems is to find poems that many people can relate to and enjoy and understand that poetry is something that can be a vital part of your life and of the lives that you share with others, particularly in this time when we tend to be isolated. Poetry can be a good connector. The poem that I'm going to share with you today was written by a poet that I've admired for a long time, the poet Ellen Bass. Ellen Bass wrote a collection some years ago that bits and pieces of it I've used in teaching and have returned to over and over again, a collection called Mules of Love, which is a wonderful book. But I thought that I would read today a poem from her latest collection, Indigo, which came out this year. I read it from cover to cover a couple of weeks ago, and it is a very resonant connection for right now because it has to do with feeling your mortality a bit in the world, but finding ways to overcome the fears and the frustrations and sadnesses that accompany thinking about aging and loss. And it's filled with poems about the poet herself and her partner, her mother, friends, and her old dog. And that's the one that I wanted to read for you today. This particular poem is called Taking My Old Dog Out to Pee Before Bed. Zeke's hips are too ground down to lift a leg, so he just stands there. We both just stand, looking into the darkness. The moon silvers his thinning fur. Orion strides across the heavens, his own dog trotting at his heel. And a great live oak reaches over from the neighbor's yard, dense black limbs silhouetted against a paler sky. Single voluptuous remnant of forests. Can a tree be lonely? Zeke tips up his muzzle, scent streaming through 200 million olfactory cells as he reads the illuminated manuscript of night. Raccoons prowling down the street, who's in heat or just out for a stroll. Handsome still, he reminds me of an aging movie star with his striking white eyebrows and square jaw. He always had an urbane elegance, a gentleman who could carry off satin lapels and a silver-tipped cane. Tonight, an ambulance wails. Someone not so far away is frightened, in pain, trying to live or trying to die. And then it's quiet again. No birds, no wind. We don't speak. We just wait alive together until one of us turns back to the door and the other follows. Thank you for listening, and check back next week for another poem in Poetry Sunday.